When I wrote this with help, I remember with council member input, Councilmember Morehouse, when I talked a bit about this, when I wrote the inclusionary, we looked at realizing that we were going to have to finesse, and by the way, a community development director, Nelson Hernandez, who did a very impassioned presentation of that when we came forward, looked at, we were going to have to massage it and try to take a look at what we do after a couple of years. And we wanted to talk, as you alluded to earlier, in lieu fees was a possibility, but we didn't know how it was all going. And truth of the matter is, when you looked at it, look at all the entitled projects that unfortunately they didn't get built because of the financing and the crash of the market, but they didn't say, boy, the inclusionary's here, I'm not even going to get into the process. We have a number of entitled projects that are in there. Now, the financing and how all this comes about has changed radically, but they came in knowing that was in place at that time. I do want to just express my concern that I think the idea that we haven't come back, this is, I think last Thursday was probably when Jeff held that meeting, was probably the follow-up to that 7 years ago when we wrote the ordinance, was we should come back and visit it in a year or two and see how we can massage it and make it better. And I understand why we didn't come back. There wasn't a reason to come back. They hadn't been built because of the market. There wasn't a lot of this going on, so there wasn't an opportunity to do it. But I think from what I've heard from speakers here and even some of the other folks on the development side, that it was a dialogue that needed to happen a long time ago, but it was happening now. And the suggestions I've heard about in lieu fees and some other things traditionally have not been offered up by the affordable housing advocates at times. They say, well, it doesn't get stuff done, it doesn't get built, it does. But they're very flexible in how we're looking at that. And we have an opportunity right now where we've got everybody talking. So for us to be here trying to craft that after they just had their very first meeting and the dialogue opening, I think we could look at, I think somebody, that's why I think Carl, you said, could it come back and still get in time for the housing element after we had those discussions, so we could put some of those suggested updates to this ordinance in place. So that's kind of why when I heard about the meeting, I was excited because it was a dialogue that needed to happen, and it hadn't happened in ages. But the doors are open. We have a great opportunity to do it. I don't think any of us work in the affordable housing field. We have housing as an interest, as the mayor says, and we want all levels of it in our community. But I don't think one of us knows the nuances of the little things that can change a project, and those are the folks that can, from both sides of it. So that's where I am a little concerned about moving so quickly on this. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Tracy.